1, 2, 3. Good morning. Do I have audio confirmation?
DougBot said, hey, is this thing on?
I have speaker bot confirmation. And then I wanted to go to this. If you found your way to this video because you saw this thumbnail and or you saw this title, actually, no, if you didn't see those, I said that wrong. I just showed you the thumbnail. It's currently on this show. And the title that's currently on this show. If you came to this video because you saw something else, a topic that interests you, I suggest you go look in the description, the video description. You might find some information there that will guide you to the part of the video that you're specifically interested in. If you like to continue watching, that would be great too, so that you see what our show is normally about. Hey, Doug, why were you spinning around in the chair at the beginning? Well, I have been informed by people smarter than me that when I start my shows and start talking right away, that you folks who are sitting there waiting for the show to start often don't see that because there is a latency to when the video actually starts playing. But those few seconds that you weren't seeing is actually still there on the replay. So that's why the spinning in the chair at the beginning of this show today. Today, by the way, speaking of today, it's February 8th, 2025, and it is a Saturday. A day when all turds are say, whatever that is. And yeah, it's 11:02 a.m. right now. So I'm going to come over here and say hello to people that are showing up in the chat room. If you have any questions, technical subjects, topics that are of interest to you,
Red chat, please.
Or issues that you're having with the computer, this is a good time to put it into chat. Multiple posts regarding Macrium Reflect and USB drive caddy disappearing. So the way I understand that is for people who are using Macrium Reflect and they have a USB drive caddy, when they start the backup, the caddy vanishes from their desk. Right? Do you have any links there, Greg? We can go look at them. I have some backup topics for today, but nothing really important that I'm wanting to get to. What planet are you on? What's that? Meaning because of the spinning? John Aloy, hello from Virginia. Well, hello right back to you from Samantha. And my daughter Christy says hello to you. Tell Virginia I said hi. Jeff Ryman, you need to ask Penn and Teller about the Vanishing Act. No, it is happening. See above. So he's got something maybe further up above. If I come over here, I should be able to see it. He starts out by saying, I use Macrium Reflect paid version 8.1 on Windows 10 22H2. I back up to internal hard drive without issue. I also use a hard drive caddy toaster to back up via USB 3.x for offsite imaging. Okay. For the past week, the latter has issues during verification. The external drive disappears, meaning USB appears to drop the connection. Power management in Device Manager does not help, which implies that he's already in Device Manager has instructed it to not allow the device to turn itself off or not allow the computer to turn the device off. So this isn't an issue that you've read about. This is an issue that you're having. Oh, good, fun. Something an actual issue that somebody's having. I like that. USB setting in power plan is off. Multiple posts regarding Macrim and Fleck and USB drive caddy disappearing. It is happening. So I just did a copy of that. Control C, copy of that. I'll go see if I can find such posts. Posts or articles? He said posts, right? Multiple posts. Macrim not showing an external drive. When I look into Macrim, cannot see my new USB drive. They're not quite saying disappearing, meaning it was there and then it's gone. Although
Read chat, please.
Maybe when I get into them deeper, they will say that. Oh, Greg says he meant posts in chat here. Oh, that means I shouldn't have gone to look at his. I'll go through and read the chat then. Read the chat, Doug. Bobby Warren was first. Hello, Bobby. Rick Lakes. Hello. John Williams says, very nice trailer. Very young Paul McCartney and their kids in the video, according to what I read up about that video. Linda, his wife, playing the keyboard next to him. Official Tim Jack Forth. Hello, everyone. Sup. Phil Stodd, hello. Greg M, read that already. I'm fine, thank you. Greg M for the past week. Let's see, already read Greg M's comments on the subject. USB setting, what do you mean? It said posts in this chat? Or maybe he's saying multiple of his posts. Ran Israel, hello. Tim Cruz. Selden Ball. Multiple posts regarding Macri Flag. So I think it's multiple of his posts in today's show. Jeff Ryman, John Williams, Rick Lakes, Josh Kinder. Few minutes late. I explained the spinning at the beginning of the show. Hang in there, Doug. Your humor will catch up to us homies one day. Been having no issues for over a year using this caddy. Even bought a new caddy and same issues. Did he already tell us if he's 24H2? No, 110/22H2. So nothing about updates is going to be causing that. And how about, do you have that experience with multiple different drives in the caddy? Or is it just one drive that's having that issue? Danielle Emberly is asking, is it a single bay or dual bay toaster? I had one where USB did not work reliably with drives in both slots. And have you swapped out the USB cable? Have you tried the different slot?
Please.
Just basic troubleshooting. Chris Garrett. I'm going to catch up to you, Chris. I'm not far away. And he says it's a single bay. Is it actually a toaster, or did he say it's like a toaster? Use a hard drive caddy / toaster. We might be curious to know what device that is if you're able to give us an Amazon link to it. But no, you've had it for a long time, so probably you don't have that. Do you have another device, another toaster or caddy or toaster that you can try it in? At this point, all I'm saying right now is troubleshooting. Just change things around, change parts around, trying to narrow down what the trouble seems to follow. And just testing one other device isn't enough to make a conclusion, because you probably have amount of time that you, or number of attempts before it's going to be a problem. If the problem does exist on that other one, then are you using the same USB cable for both of those devices, same USB port? Those are all just swapping the elements involved. Swapping a different drive. Do you have the problem with a different drive? Frosty Winnipeg, is he booted to a USB? I am thinking he's running Macrim Reflect from the Windows drive, because he told us it's Windows 10 22H2 on Windows 10 22H2. So that doesn't sound like he's running it from a USB drive, because in that event, there's no point in saying the Windows version. I had two drives with the same issue. So two different drives he's used in the same toaster. I'm just going to call it a toaster until he corrects us on it. Oh, there it is. He's got a link for it. If I was in the area, I'd drop off my Sabrent toaster as a different device. Bought a brand new toaster with new cables that came with the toaster. Even USB-C has the same issue. Now, this implies your previous toaster was having the same problem. You bought a new toaster and it's having the same symptom with at least two different drives. This is the newest toaster. Different ports, different cables, different drives. Well done for getting those basics covered. YKFYTY. Can we just agree that we hate these things? StarTech, single bay. So I can't fault that. I'd have to say that the swapping of drives, USB cables, and toasters has been done to a reasonable level. So now we got to look at things about the computer itself. Is it, and I'm not saying that this is the best way to go. We may come up with something better, but just as another troubleshooting step. Is it reasonable, since you do Macrim Reflect already, make an image backup of your current C drive and then do a fresh install of Windows, install Macrim Reflect, and do the backup there multiple times and see if you still have the trouble? If you don't, then that means there is something about your current Windows installation that's causing the issue. Of course, then you can restore your Windows image to the computer and then focus in on troubleshooting that. We kind of already are suspecting that because of the amount of parts that you've already swapped over. But a confirmation of that would be to fresh install Windows. If the problem still exists, could it still exist with a fresh install? Yes, if it's actually a hardware problem in your computer. You've done different USB ports, but what do all the USB ports have in common? The motherboard, the chipset. How about updating drivers? Updating drivers, chipset drivers in particular, any other drivers for your hardware. Why don't you tell us a little bit about the computer? The drive always disappears during verification, never during backup. Well, now that's interesting. What port of USB you are using, the front or rear ports? He answers front port and rear port, USB 3.1. All right, so let's, some of you are going to start complaining about me doing this. But I'm going to go see what Copilot says to have about this, just to show you how easy it is to ask the question. Triple click, Control C, triple click, Control C, triple click, Control C. Triple click, Control C. I don't want to do that one, really. I'll give her that. Give Copilot that one. Got that one. I don't think that one's going to be matter. So you've given us a lot of good information here, troubleshooting that you've already done. I'm going to do a new chat because that is not automatic. So let's go from the beginning. Geez, how far back do I got to go here? Multiple posts. Looks like I must have copied these a few times over. Start with this one. And then this one. And then USB setting and power plan is off. I'm going to skip that one. I'm going to take that one. Losing my track. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. There. And Copilot can evaluate all of this. Okay, so not good grammar, not good sentence structure. Let's see what it does. I don't know. I haven't tried anything quite like this before. Well, drivers, which I mentioned already. So I think you've had some other comments in chat. Maybe you've already answered that. Firmware updates, different USB controller. Well, that's a good point. Not just different ports. Well, it's not an add-on card, but make sure you're on a different. Now, front and back, I'm pretty sure that's going to be on a different USB controller. Power management settings, you've already done. Now, was that the USB controllers? Did you check for power management there? Test with another computer. That's a good idea. Take the same USB cable, one of the USB cables that has experienced the problem, and the toaster and the drive to another computer. It is a paid version, so you could reach out to Macroom Reflex support. And let's go see what else. Oh, wait a minute. That's not chat. That's just his. Do I have anything highlighted? Oh, he asked Chat GPT. Danielle says, I've had a bad experience with a toaster when I took an HDD out of a computer and put it in the toaster. It's been a few years and do not remember the exact sequence of events. Files went raw. Oh. Let's see this. How old is your data set? I have found that Copilot is pulling information that is in current news. ChatGPT, my last experiences was old. Yeah, see, ChatGPT, September 2021 data set, whereas Copilot is getting current, much more current information. I think I'm probably not going to read through all of that unless you want to direct my attention to something in particular in there, because, yeah, you did quite a bit there. You obviously have been through a lot. And thank you for bringing this to us. Wow, this is awesome. Other drives do the same thing. He's told us 2 drives. Yeah, the regular 4 terabyte drive and the Caviar 4 terabyte drive does the same thing. Is it only the large drives that are causing this problem? There was, let's see, are these Western Digital? Caviar. Yeah, that's Western Digital, isn't it? And the only reason I ask that is Kerry Holzman has reported that there is something going on with the larger Western Digital drives, the 4 terabytes specifically. Latest firmware for the new toaster was 2016, meaning they haven't updated it. I can try another computer, sure. Support expired oh yeah, it's a paid version, but it's out of support. Gotcha. Was the drive formatted in the toaster? My experience led me to believe they work best when the drive is formatted while in the toaster. No, it was not. I don't think that should be necessary. It's only on Verify. There's some options, I think, with Verify. You have it set up to backup and verify right after, yes. Well, the backup is 1.3 terabytes in size, both Western Digital. Yeah, it's not the size of the drive of the backup that's of concern. It's the size of the drive that there's some Western Digital problems. What? Let me do this way. What problems do Western Digital 4 terabyte drives have? Oops, I got to click first. Could have typed it by now. Oh, come on. All right. What problems do Western Digital 4 TB drives have? Been reported to experience several issues by users: corruption, missing files and photos, slow performance, connection issues, problems with the drive not being detected or disappearing during use. Boom. Disappearing during use. That's exactly what you're having. Issues with power management settings causing the drive to disconnect or not be recognized. Firmware issues. Firmware issues can firmware be updated on those drives? Some problems have been resolved with firmware updates, but not always. It's worth noting these issues can vary from drive to drive, might not affect every 4 terabyte drive. If you're experiencing persistent problems, it might be helpful to run diagnostics, check for firmware updates, or contact Western Digital support. Let's see, that was... Did somebody confirm that that is Western Digital? Seems to me it is, but I don't keep track of that kind of stuff very well. Just don't care enough. Caviar. Is Caviar a WD drive? Yes. I thought so. See there, I was right. Shouldn't have doubted myself. I want to go look at and bring up my Mac and Reflect and look at settings for verifications, because it seems there's some detailed settings you can do. Oh, I'm still
Red
on
chat, please.
his stuff. Oh, not USB card, not USB on the motherboard. Well, he said he was connecting to the front and the rear ports. Let's see if he said something else about that I haven't seen yet. There was a firmware update, particularly for Western Digital NVMe, that would interfere with upgrading to 24H2. He's on Windows 10, 22H2, so there's no 24H2 involved. Maybe Phil is just responding about what the problems were with Western Digital. Take out the add-on card and use internal USB on the card. Yeah, definitely.
Red chat, please.
These drives are 2 years old and longer. I'm using front port, which is onboard USB. Rear port is an add-on card. Okay, gotcha. But I think actually remove the card on the potential that if there's something going on with the card that it could actually interfere with other USB ports. I don't know that that's a thing. Possibility. Just you would assume it's not. So prove your assumptions by removing the board. And if you do just backup, no verify, but verify manually later, the drive won't disappear, I would assume. He's asking, is that the case or have you tested that? I'm also using onboard USB front connector. It says, yeah, that's doable. So now let's go look at Macrim Reflect regarding verifications. See, I had no idea we'd be going down this road today. Where is it? Oh, here it comes. Now let's consider edit defaults and settings. Is there anything in here about verifications? Verify file system. Verify integrity for FAT NTFS, checking all files have their data entries correctly mapped. Could there actually, no, it's not that verify is failing, it's that the drive disappears. I don't think reparse points have anything to do with that. They don't. I think he said his version number was, oh, I'm using 8.1. Mine's probably not under support anymore either. All right, so if I come up here and go to run now, and let's just do an incremental. I don't think I'm actually going to run it, but it will. It won't. I don't think it'll harm my stream at all. But I want to get to a point where I can see that just goes straight into it. Yeah, I don't get to see verify options there. And I don't think it'll let me cancel until it gets there. It's far enough. So I'll cancel that. So let's go edit. That's what we'll do, is edit my backup job. Definition files, right click edit, or choose the edit button on the button bar. Advanced options, auto verify. No, nothing really there. Well, then there's auto verify directly after creation and verify file image. Verify the integrity of the file systems being backed up. Verify the image. Oh, okay. So this is, I guess this is verifying your source. I've never really looked at the difference between these two. I think this is verifying your source of what you're backing up. And this is verifying the image after the backup. So if you remove this check mark, let the backup complete, and then run a verify. Where is that done anyway? Do you do that on the screen at the end, or do you go over here like to a backup? Yeah, here's a verify button. So just go to your backup file and verify it from here. And that's not comparing it to my current installation. This would be verifying that there's no file errors in that backup file itself. So here, if I go to like an incremental that's 5 gigabytes in size and verify just that, does it verify just that, or does it go through all of its parents? Verify just this incremental. And then there's automatically attempt repair. So if I do a verify, this would be, I call this a manual verify. Shouldn't take too long, 6 seconds. So if you do a manual verify, Greg, does it verify correctly? Remove the card and use only rear USB. I would agree with that. There could be an issue with the cable going to the front ports. Yeah. He's correct. Verification runs fine separately. So he's done that and it works fine. So it's just that the drive disappears when he's doing an auto verify. The specific Western Digital drives concerning the 24H2 blue screen issues where these models both seem to be isolated to the 2 terabyte capacities. Oh, yes. I do remember that now that you say that. I was thinking, I earlier said it was the 4 terabyte. No, you're right. Absolutely. It was the 2 terabyte. And was it only on 24H2? Were the WD issues only with 2 TB and Windows 11 24H2? We're not limited to just the 2 terabyte models or 1124H2. I know those are what Carrie was talking about. However, there are specific problems reported with certain 2 terabyte, such as when used with 11. These issues included blue screen of death errors. Well, that's not what he's having. We did find, let's see, what problems do Western Digital 2 terabyte drives have? Same stuff. Now we admit, right, that we don't really completely trust Copilot, but it is giving us an affirmation of that. Disappearing during use, not blue screen. During one of these issues, I did a manual verification and it worked fine. I'm going to guess that he hasn't done the manual verification every time. Are those SSD models? Good question. Are they NVMe? Oh, they are NVMe. Okay. Oh, those are, I guess he's asking about Greg's drives, not what I'm asking Copilot. These troubles. Anybody else got questions? Only with NVMe drives. Saying NVMe and SATA. Are these troubles only with M.2 drives? Because SATA doesn't clarify whether it's M.2 or, right? Am I saying that right? You guys have corrected me before on this. All this name minutia, there's so much of it that I just gave up on trying to keep it all straight. Not really gave up. I just don't put a whole lot of effort into it. Primarily reported with Western Digital NVMe. Western Digital released firmware updates to address this issue. How about it? Is there any firmware updates for those drives? And are those, you said 2 drives that you tried it on, were they both Western Digital? Doesn't apply in this situation. I'm going to suspect that's some reference to the NVMe versus spinning drive, 2 terabyte versus 4 terabyte. I don't know quite what that means. Age of the caddy. He's had 2 different caddies. One he just bought. So, yeah, that's not, I don't think that's going to be it. And he showed us the caddy. That's not an wait a minute, that's not an M.2 caddy. Where'd it go? Where is it? Here. Does that do M.2s? There's 2.5 and 3.5 inch. So is it? No, he said it's NVMe. It can't be NVMe if it's 2.5 inch. No such animal. I'm confused. What's new, Doug? I don't want to try to read through all that. Is there some reason why you're guiding us to that, Lon Dog? Full backup or incremental backup? Well, that's interesting. If you do full backup without auto verification, maybe do the verification after, and then do a differential or incremental. Since he has a paid version, he can do either differential or incremental with verification turned on. And will it still disconnect the drive? Now, with that type of a troubleshooting step, sometimes I stop and ask, well, now wait a minute. If it does have the problem, what does that mean I should do next? If it doesn't have the problem, what should I do next? Is there any difference? Do I really care? Does it matter? Does it change where I'm going to look next? I don't really think so in that scenario. Event viewer, awesome, good idea. Pinpoint the date and time. When that happens, go look at event viewer. You could even look first at reliability history, because that'll take you more directly to the item. So you may find it in there. Do you have that computer available to you right now? Because you should be able to see an application failure or a Windows failure or some kind of failure when that drive disappears. That was a good idea. Who said that? Frosty Winnipeg. Very good. If I had the point system lined up, you would have got points for that. I don't know how the point systems will be evaluated yet, but speaking of that, I have a redirect set up today to Bearded Ink. And the ink does refer to tattoos that he is partial to, as I understand. And he does a lot. Wait a minute. Why did I say that? Oh, yeah, he does a lot of StreamerBot stuff. And one of my ideas behind wanting to be noticed by him or getting communications with him is for assistance with creating a points system for my show, if he hasn't done it already. But anyway, today he's starting at 12 p.m. So he's starting an hour earlier than what he was scheduled for last week. Last week he did not. At the end of my show, he had rescheduled his show to a couple hours later. And then when that time came, he didn't show up. And then he did eventually show up. And what was happening is he was having some internet down issues. So we're going to try that again today, but we're going to be getting in an hour late to his show. Unless I decide to cut my show short. So event viewer. Brand new USB. Well, he was replying to Selden about how old the caddy is. Yeah, he bought a brand new one. SATA. So 2.5 inch SATA NVMe, but the affected drives you mentioned are NVMe drives. My issue is SATA drives. Oh, okay. So whatever was previously said about NVMe, maybe somebody said those are NVMe drives. And I didn't realize they were talking about the Western Digital problems that I was looking at. They just assumed I would understand that when they say those are NVMe drives, that I would realize they're talking about what I'm talking about instead of Greg's drives. Please, you got to use more words, people. So he's 2.5 inch. Since he said they're SSDs, they can't be 3.5 inch. So he's dealing with 2.5 inch SATA drives, not NVMe drives. So we got to let go of the NVMe drives. That's not what he's dealing with. Am I right? Give me an exclamation mark why, if I'm understanding that piece correct. That I was mistakenly understanding he's dealing with 2.5-inch SSD drives only, right? Somebody, anybody, Bueller. And when you give me half sentences of just a few words, I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about. I am dealing with SATA rotational WD drives. I thought you said they were SSDs. Are you trolling me? I thought he said they were SSDs. They're not, SSDs don't spin. Okay. Unless when he said SSD, it was for some. Oh, look at that. He didn't even say SSD. There's no mention of SSD for him. Nobody gave me an exclamation mark why, which means I've still got something wrong. And I lost my blue. Yeah, I brought up Carrie's stuff. So that is apparently not.
Yes, Master E, Bob.
There's a yes, saying I have corrected my understanding correctly. He's dealing with only 2.5-inch spinning drives. Okay, when I said S, no, that's why you didn't give me a yes. He's dealing only with 2.5-inch spinning drives. I could use another exclamation mark why to confirm that. I don't know where I left off. Internal drive. I think that's the first that I've seen with internal drives. I think I saw this before. Event viewer. Saw that before. Greg M. SATA. Spinning SATA 2.5-inch. The affected drives you mentioned. Okay. We're quoting the right models. We've given a few ideas already. He already mentioned power management settings. Nothing in event viewer. All right. Well, that's certainly possible. Event viewer might not throw a message for that. Full backup to internal drive verifies fine. Outside possibility, there's a power supply issue from WD's mouse. So this is back, well, that said SanDisk. Internal SSD, critical firmware update, solving blue screen of death, Windows 11 24 HD. So that's on that issue, which is not the trouble that Greg is having. So I'm not going to spend more time on that. Well, this doesn't really help. Greg, Phil says, I would make the backup to the internal drive, then copy that folder to the external drive. The backup to the external drive works just fine. And he can verify just fine, just not as part of the backup operation. If he has a check mark to immediately verify after the backup, that's where it loses connection. But then after he can get it reconnected and then verify, the backup on the external drive is fine. I don't see that there's any reason to go through that extra hurdle. Reliability report shows nothing. Yeah, that's well documented apparently about that problem that does exist, but that's not with these drives. And there's, yeah, you think I remember when somebody mentioned the SN770? Have you met me? No, I don't even read those numbers out loud, right? I generally skip over them because no, they're not going to stick with me. I know some of you don't understand how that could be, but yeah, some people's brains work better on remembering model numbers. No, not me. Just for clarification, JFC, spinning metal, 4 terabyte SSDs are expensive. Spinning, the reason for doing 4 terabyte spinning drives is because 4 terabyte SSDs are expensive. Yeah. And for backups, what do you need an SSD for? No, having a huge spinning drives for backups, I like that a lot. Okay, let go of that long dog. I've got it. I understand that. Are the drives seen at all in Device Manager? You know what? After it disconnects, after Macro Reflect loses its connection, do they still show up in Device Manager without having to disconnect and reconnect? That's an interesting question. Because that would tell you that it's, oh, hey, you've got an outdated version of Macro Reflect. How about downloading a trial version of the newest Macro Reflect? You'll have to use a different email address to accomplish that, and see if it has that problem. Because since this is all in a toaster, it could be that since the Macro Reflect version that you're using, Macro Reflect has fixed that issue. I like that troubleshooting step a lot, because a trial version, you'll be able to do a full backup with auto verify. How about that? What do you think of that, Greg? Because that's exactly the type of thing, the reason why updates happen, is to fix things like that. Heat related? Well, a reason for justifying heat related would be, and I wouldn't be surprised that those drives may produce significant heat, would be since the verify works after the fact, when it tries to verify right after the backup is done, then the drive would be warm. I think that's a maybe, but I'm still more enthusiastic about trial version of a current Macro Reflect. Completely USB cable from a different brand. I've had problems with Thunderbird 4 and 5 cables. That's a reasonable idea. Okay, Phil Stodd has 2 of the troublesome Western Digital drives, which is not Greg's issue. He doesn't have that issue. And he's done the firmware updates, even though he's not using them for 24H2. I think that was a good idea. I think that's very good. USB cable first. Gary's liking the USB cable first before doing the trial version of Macro Reflect. I don't care too much about either of those. As far as which one's first. And another toaster with its own cable. Yeah, that was a different cable. I think what Gary's asking, was it a different brand cable? Not just that it was a different cable. Trial new version is a good idea. He likes that. Yeah, so Gary is saying use a quality cable, not the cable that comes with the device, because those typically are going to be inexpensive cables, just barely enough. I think whichever, as far as which you do first, the trial version or the cable, is whichever you find easier to accomplish. It doesn't take long to order a cable from Amazon, knowing that you can a quality cable, so more expensive, and then return it. I think it's easier, quicker, and easier to download a trial version of Macro and Reflect and try that. So I would do the trial version first. Frequency noise on the USB cable is a thing. I'll buy that. It uses USB-A to USB-B cable for the toasters. It's that USB 3.0 or 3.x B. It's a different shape B cable than the USB 2.0 B cable, B connector. Lawn Dog, the reason I switched to SSD was using a spinning hard drive, which was 4 terabyte, was causing a lot of interruptions in performance in my machine, especially Dragon's Naturally Speaking and other. Was the Dragon Naturally Speaking actually making any use of the spinning drive, or was Dragon Naturally Speaking operating from your main system drive and it was at least SSD or NVMe? Are you saying that just having a spinning hard drive that's in the computer only for backup purposes was causing troubles to Dragon Naturally Speaking? That would be an interesting point. Hello, Bernard C. Nice to see you. Bernard C. Conspicuously is not in blue, which all that means is that I haven't seen him enough or got to know him enough to approve it. Well, he is approved for the chat room. That's the only way he could show up here. So I have approved him for the chat room, but haven't made him a moderator yet. Hey Bernard, can you remind me what you had asked, what you had left a comment about, and see how good my memory is, my rock solid, stable, consistent memory. You remind me about what a prior comment that you made on a video, and see if I can remember the issue or the comment. Oh yeah, so Lawn Dog, did Lawn Dog reply yet? As described. Oh, Dragon's Naturally Speaking was run from my Western Digital, this SN850X, and you expect me to know that that is an SSD or an NVMe, or come on. The spinning drive was for backup only, and during the backup operation I would have issues. But you were saying up here that Dragon was causing a problem. Interruptions in performance in my machines, especially Dragon Naturally Speaking. So because it was there for backup only, it was causing trouble to your Dragon Naturally Speaking. That's interesting. Everything's been fine since I switched to SSD. My Samsung, I believe, a 980 Pro 2 terabyte failed a few years ago when they're having a problem. There's a video about that, I guess. Only to understand more, the add-in card sits in the PCIe or as a 3.5-inch tray. A add-in card. My understanding is this add-in card was for USB ports. Can an add-in card for USB ports be in a 3.5-inch tray? I suppose it could be. Never seen it. Oh, that video is on my channel about the entire event. Very weird issue that he helped me solve. It was bad blocks on the drive. Well, there you go. See, because I totally remembered that not. High performance NVMe drive. So that's what that is. Yeah, that's his boot drive. Yeah, I don't know that. I do not know that model name. If you gave it to me in a multiple choice list, I would not have identified that as a high performance NVMe drive. Don't care. Those details, high performance drives, do not matter among my business clients. Absolutely not. The way I explained what was happening was resources being taken up during the actual backup was getting data off the NVMe drive, processing it, sending it to the spinning drive. So the problem with Dragon, naturally speaking, was while a backup was in operation. Is that correct, Londog? Apparently that operation while using Dragon's naturally speaking, yeah, okay, he says it in the next one. Therefore, Dragon wasn't working as it should while the backup was running. Yeah, that totally makes sense. And also dependent upon your computer's processor and memory capabilities. For Dragon, naturally speaking, it needs all the speed that it can get. When the backup is running, Dragon, naturally speaking, can't interrupt some of the functions that's happening of the backup. So it can't, the processor can't split its time between the backup and Dragon, naturally speaking, as quickly and easily as some other programs can switch back and forth. So if the drive is running slower, that is tying up your computer's resources. Now that's all kind of by deduction, speculative deduction, not research. So let me make that clear. Bernard says, wish I had good news for you all. However, I'm still working on 10 Pro registration. Talked with Carrie on purchasing a new key. All right. Was that the upgrade from Windows 10 Home to Windows 10 Pro? Where you had asked a question on my video about upgrading from Home to Pro? If that's the case, a new key is not going to fix it. You have to go through that process of using that temporary key provided by Microsoft while the computer is not connected to the internet. Ondog says that's correct. It was while the backups were running that he was having dragon trouble. Trouble with dragons. How to Tame Your Dragon. You should read that book, Londog. That might help you. How to Train Your Dragon. I run this backup job overnight. Not only does Dragon, naturally speaking, pull some data from the vocabulary on the NVMe drive, it was also copying all the files for the backup and then sending it to Fred Flintstone on the spinning drive, to Friends Flintstone on the spinning drive. Fred Flintstone on the spinning drive, because the spinning drive is a Fred Flintstone product. Fred Flintstone has the patent for spinning drives. Although in his patent, it was out of stone, not metal. Spinning drive at 100 megabits per second. If there's anyone watching this video who doesn't understand that was a joke, that was a joke. And the NVMe drive, of course, sat around waiting for the drive to do its writing process. Anyways, this is not easy to explain using this format. It's not so hard to understand when you think about all the processes involved. I think I'm with you. Microsoft key I bought in 2022 may have expired. That's where I'm at now, Doug. Microsoft key bought in 20. So did you buy an actual Microsoft retail key for Windows 10? If it's a retail key, it should not have expired. You can call them when you're trying to activate. There should be there's a link there somewhere that it gives you a phone number to call. You call the phone number, you put in all the digits of the key that you're trying to activate, and it will respond automated with a key for you to use, a code for you to type in, if I'm remembering that right. So depends upon what can you send me a screenshot, Bernard, of what's happening when you try to activate with your Microsoft key? There's the email address on the screen. And I'm thinking that I told you that we'll work with you, trying to help you resolve the issue. Maybe that's why you're here. I hope so. Because that would be fun. That comment worked. But I have had issues with Windows 10 keys not activating, but you can get it done through their automated system. I'm not quite convinced that if you weren't able to get it to activate, I don't think that automatically means it's not legit. I'd like to know when and where you bought it. Yes, sir. Followed the I tried many. Yes, sir. Followed the I tried many those temp keys offline. Still no luck. Hey, another thing, Bernard, I'd be happy to connect remotely to your computer, and we can go through that together. That's an awesome part of this show, and something that I had hoped we could do more often. So I can connect remotely to it, and even if we fail, we're at least documenting the problem. But I feel pretty comfortable that we may be able we may be able to help you solve that. Love to do that with you. We still have an hour left of the show. Do you want to do that today? We can do that right now. You send me an email to this address and well, no, we don't even need to do that. I just tell you to go to a website. What was all that? I had a whole bunch of stuff happen in my headset. Did you guys hear that? That was weird. Did you guys just hear there were two extra voices, a female and a male voice. I couldn't tell what they were saying. Because I just couldn't pay attention to it. Had to install a driver. I did that again after uninstalling the device that's responding to Zavi. When you installed the add-on card, did you need to install a driver, or was it recognized by the system immediately? The answer is you did have to install a driver. I did that again after uninstalling the device recently. Got it. The key will not be valid.
Chat, please.
If they change the motherboard or change it from home to pro. Well, okay, that's something I may have misunderstood about Bernard C. That key that you bought some time ago would have been used to create a digital license. So those retail keys, there's some way that you can disassociate them with the computer they originally connected to, and I think you can activate it a second time on another computer, if I'm remembering that right. But there's so that Bernard C, that key that you bought some time ago, did you use it back then and then you're trying to use it again? That might be the issue. You can move it a retail key from one computer to another. And there have been, if I recall correctly, somebody else might validate this, I have music playing in my ear. Ever since those voices, I've had this music playing in my ear. I don't know where that's from. Oh, there it is. It's from this. Oh, that's Bearded Ink. He's starting his stream. That's where it came from. And he must have had some bot messages at the beginning. You wouldn't have heard that because I have Chrome browser audio turned off. So yeah, he's starting his stream. He has a long lead in that just plays music. Here, I'll play the music for you. There, you can hear the music now. This just goes over and over. And I think this plays all through his stream. All right, I turned that off. I'm going to pause his video so I don't hear it anymore. Now I got to zoom this back in. Is there a way to lower the priority of the backup job? If so, that may help with your issue with Dragon, naturally speaking. Actually, that does sound familiar. If I come to create backups, definition files, edit, that does sound familiar. You know what? I think it will automatically sense activity on the computer and slow down the backup. But Dragon Naturally Speaking, I don't think Dragon Naturally Speaking wants it now. And it's not consistently putting demand. So I don't think Macro and Reflect would be able to adjust in time. Let's see if I go next. Definition. Edit the schedule. There wouldn't be anything in there. Conditions. This is the same. And then next. No, I don't see anything in this version for lowering the priority. That's a reasonable idea, Gray. New driver from manufacturer's website. So he's asking for model of the add-ons. Let's see. Oh yes, I did contact Microsoft. I ran that test. Many, many numbers. Oh wait, you want to remote hookup? Yeah. Never used it till now. I bought from Carrie. Oh no, if you bought a license from Carrie a couple of years ago, no, that won't work. He's made that very clear. And other people have found that to be clear too. No, you can't just sit on the license. He won't even buy them in advance. He doesn't buy them until he needs to use them. Okay, so Bernard, if you want to do this, I will set you up. Go to the website logmein123.com and you should type that into the browser with the .com. So I'm going to show that. Logmein123.com. Include the .com. If you don't, you're going to get search results. And the search results, bad people try to hijack remote sessions. So put the .com. That should take you straight to a screen for a 6-digit code. And when you tell me in chat that you're at that screen with an exclamation mark C, do an exclamation mark C, then say, what is the code? Or code question mark, and I'll give you a 6-digit code. I can't bring it up now because if I do that, it might expire by the time you're there. So, but I'm setting up my remote machine. Once I click on that create PIN code, there's a limited amount of time for you to come in. That would be fun. Yeah. Lawn dog, look at all that lawn dog. Lawn dog, I have to skip over. It's your stuff. I bought Windows 10 key once from Microsoft website, ordered a Pro key, and it showed as enterprise version. Should probably have kept this enterprise key. You know what? I started to tell a story, and I think I got distracted. But I have heard There have been in the past Microsoft Windows operating systems sold in a packaged box in retail computer stores such as CompUSA that were later shown to be not legit, false, fake. I can't even remember the word. False, fake, scam, whatever. John Williams says, oh, that was for Stormy or Wendy and Princess. Wait, I can't see the site, Doug. Okay, let me go back here. What you need to type in is, let's make this better for you. logmein123.com, and somewhere around here I have a Zoom capability. Let's see. There. logmein123.com is the address. logmein123.com. I'm going to try zooming in one more scroll wheel click. Oh, that's all right. Counterfeit. Selden, yeah. That's not quite the word I was looking for, but that means exactly the same as what I was looking for. And Dan the Man put a link into chat for you, because he's the man. Now, once you, well, no, let's wait to give the 6-digit code. Then I'll tell you what happens next. Oh. So he has bought a new code from Carrie. Let's go look at the rest of Bernard's comments here. Yeah, the 2022 key that expired through Carrie definitely expired. They don't keep activating those beyond a certain amount of time, which is not really written in stone, but when Carrie only buys them when he's ready to put them in right now.
Read chat, please.
He's got it in the browser. Okay. So the code is 575605. Here we go. 575065. I don't have Zoom capability on that. Can I do it this way? No. 575605. And then when you put in that code, it should automatically do the download. Do not click on a link to ask to download again. Go to your downloads in the upper right corner. You should see it in there. Click on the downloaded file. Once it downloads, it should show up on my screen right here, even before you launch the file. So after it downloads, launch the file, and then just answer yes or allow or agree or approve, whatever prompts that come up, answer them in the affirmative.
Read chat, please.
Be careful not to expose his Windows key later. Thank you. Good reminder. A new CAPTCHA scam making the rounds. Missed my read chat. I had that issue with Windows 10 Pro purchased from Newegg. It turned out to be a Microsoft bug from Windows Update. That issue. Can I assume what you mean by that issue is that it wouldn't activate? Yeah, he didn't make any other comments, so I think he's saying that he had a problem that wouldn't activate. All right, I need to keep my eyes over here pretty close to see what's going on. No, I was going to do that today, Doug. Kerry said he'd take care of it, but I said
Read
I'd
chat,
buy
please.
it. Windows 10 became unactivated. So, oh, okay. You know what? I have had a couple of computers become unactivated after they had been in operation for a while. So I think I may have had that issue too. So he was going to buy a new key today. Now, the key that you currently have, Bernard, was from a couple years ago, purchased from Kerry. So we don't even want to try that. What is the current state of that computer? You know what, Bernard? If we could go ahead and set up the remote connection, that way I can put an icon on your desktop that allows you to initiate the remote connection quicker and easier. And then perhaps on Monday, for instance, or Tuesday, whenever you get the key from Kerry, we could do the remote connection during the week on one of the weekday shows. Because if you're already set up to be able to do a quick remote connection, we can do that within the time of the half-hour show. That'd be completely fine. But at this point, that PIN number is probably expired. Do you want to do that? What the result of that, Bernard, would be is that you'd have an icon on your desktop that you could click to initiate a remote connection. It does not give me the ability to connect to your computer. You have to start the connection. You must have messed it up. I'm not seeing your download. So what you should do then is I need to close this, go to a new tab in your browser and go to that web address again. Don't try to do it on the same tab. Go to a new tab, do logmein123.com, and then when you put in the PIN number, watch up here in the upper right corner, you should see the download just automatically happen. Do not click on this Start Download button. You don't need to do that. You put in the PIN number. Am I right about that? All right, I'm going to demonstrate it right here. I'm gonna create a PIN code for me. So here's my PIN code, 877891. 877891. Double checking. Yes. Yeah, I'm sorry. You do have to click Start Download. What I'm cautioning you against doing, watch up here. See that? Don't click on that again. Up here, at this point, notice I have not clicked on that file yet. All I did is downloaded it, and my remote software already recognizes that that much has happened. And then I might as well show the rest of it. So if I double click to launch that, then we get this dialog window here, user account control. You have to click OK on that. Answer yes to this, a user account control. I don't know if you guys saw that over the stream. I think the screen just went black. And then that ding you probably heard was my computer saying, hey, somebody's waiting for you, dummy. Go check them out. And then what I do is click Launch Remote Control Session. And then on your computer, you'll see DougBetts would like to view your desktop and share control. You would click OK. And then on my remote computer, which we call Baby Beast, I can see your computer. So you're looking right now at Big Beast remotely connected from Baby Beast. So that's the way it works. Now I'm going to end that connection. I could have kept it up. I can have multiple computers connected at the same time. And then I'll get ready to give you a new code. So I'm not going to click that until I know that you're ready. You need to be at a fresh screen asking for a 6-digit code. The 86 number. I don't know what you mean by that. It's going to be a new number. Are you ready for the number? He says, okay, yes, I'm ready. So here's the number. 585673. 585673. And I actually typed that into chat. So it's in chat as well. You can even copy and paste it if you wanted to. It says, got it. So when he starts downloading that, that's when it should show up here. He puts in the 6-digit code and clicks that download button. It should start downloading. Huh. My second picture-in-picture is not working. So I see Zvi and Greg have been having a conversation about drivers. I'm not going to try to get into the middle of that. Yes, open the file. Oh, there it is. Yeah, he's there. So open the file. It should prompt you right away for, I think it's an OK button to click on. And you might also have a user account control prompt. Well, there's the ding. Then I click Launch Remote Control Session. This will put a prompt on your screen. This will be 2 prompts. So click affirmative on each of them. There we go. Here's his screen. So I'm going to make that big. And then I'm going to minimize this. And then we'll make this, let me have the mouse. I got the mouse. Stop moving the mouse. Okay, I'm going to minimize this. Okay, so there we go. And then what I do to give you that icon on your desktop is I come back to my screen and I do calling card. I'm not doing unattended access. I'm doing calling card. And then I click on, no, I don't want to launch. I'm not clicking on either of those launches. I'm going to install the calling card and go back to your screen. And then either of us are able to click on this OK button. So I'm going to click OK. And then that's receiving a file. Now, if there's anybody else in the community who would like to set this up so that we can quickly establish a remote connection in the future, if you want that option to be available, I'm happy to do that. In fact, there's even a way that I can send that to you by attachment. I just haven't done that in a long time. Okay, we got a message there. calling card installation successful. Now, Bernard, I since you're kind of new around here, I want to be sure that you understand that I'm very sensitive and concerned to not expose anything that you're not comfortable with being exposed. So what I'd like to do next, point out some things about what's going on with the activation. We see a watermark down here in the activate windows. Let's see, something else I need to... If I sense that you're moving the mouse around, I will back off and wait to understand what you're asking for. If you want to immediately disconnect the connection, the way to do that would be down here where you see this icon. You can close the window and that'll give you a prompt asking if you want to close the session, or you can left click to open this window and then click the X here to close the window. That would instantly disconnect. So we see the watermark here for activate windows. Go to settings and activate windows. So this shows us that it's not currently activated. Here you have settings. I'm going to ask you, since Bernard, here it is. This shows it to us right here. I was going to say I want you to do the click, but it already showed that. And we don't have on our hands a currently usable code. So here would be change product key or upgrade your edition of Windows. And he's told us that he's already used the temporary key. Now I also want to see that we are showing Pro. Here it is, Windows 10 Pro, 22H2. And is it currently using one of those temporary keys? You said you've used the temporary keys. Oh, but I think the real problem is just you didn't have a currently activatable product key. So it'd be clicking in here. We can't activate Windows on this device as we can't connect to your organization's activation server. Oh, that indicates that you had some kind of a corporate. Does the temporary, I don't remember if the temporary key does that message. It might. Make sure you're connected to your organization's network and try again if you continue having problems with activation. That might be something that temporary key does. I don't remember that. Activate Windows now, change product key. So here you need change product key. Is this one of those temporary keys? AA684. I see, Ran Israel, your message about the current key installed. Nothing on, I have nothing on this computer.
Red chat, please.
Yes, the temp key. This temp key that we're seeing here is a KMS key. Okay. And can you want to confirm that that is a normal message for it to come up about the corporate server? Organization's activation server? No, I don't think we need to put in Carrie's key again if it's from 2 years ago. We only want a recent key. That's the ID, not the key. All right, that makes sense. Ran Israel, thank you for that. That sounds very familiar too. Yeah, my understanding, Bernard, the only key you have on hand is the old key. What I'd like to do with you, if you're willing, is after you get the correct key from Carrie, on my next day, send me an email, let me know you have that. And then on my next 9 a.m. show, I'd like for you to connect remotely using that icon and then put in the key. Now I'll take your screen off, I'll blur it or take the screen off so we're not actually showing your new key. But I'd like to just show that real and happening live on the show if you're willing. Carrie Hulsman in chat. Hello, Carrie. I can email a key to you for Bernard now if you like. All right, great, let's do it. I will copy and paste the key without exposing the key. How fun would that be? Let's just get it done. Get her done. Here's your sign. He's working on it. All right. Bernard, what kind of service is that? Huh? Yeah. Oh yeah, and his new, the key from a long time ago was from a different supplier. Yeah, good point, Phil. Kerry doesn't actually sell the keys. He directs people to CD Key, and that is the new vendor. The old vendor he stopped using because they couldn't do PayPal overseas. Oh, okay. Too bad I didn't have some kind of place for you to go put in that as a, what, testimonial? Oh my Lord, this is absolutely incredible. Oh, he used to sell keys. Okay, so Kerry's correcting us. He did used to actually sell the keys, not direct people to the site. Yeah, the change was for purchases that only had that they couldn't buy it without PayPal. Some overseas locations had that problem. And he stopped for this reason. Kerry should have a cape now. Yeah, we talked about my superhero complex as a kid. That's what I wanted to be, as a superhero. And I get that sensation with my work with my clients. I frequently am flying in to save the day, and I thoroughly enjoy that. Bernard, I think he's going to email it directly to me. And then we can also get it to you. But it doesn't serve any point to go to you because it's a one-time use key. Let's see.
Raid chat, please.
No, Chris. The conversation is not the type that a troll would have. I promise you, this is the Kerry Holzman. And he's a member. Trolls will not join my membership plan. I promise you, trolls do not do that. In part because they won't put on their troll accounts, they won't put a payment option because that's trackable, that's traceable. And the check mark. The check mark means that he's over a certain number of subscribers. So you'll never see that on a troll account. All right. Okay, guess he's on it. Man, been following Kerry for many, many years. A lot of people around here have. I don't remember. Bernard, I'm going to guess that you've not been active in his chat rooms. I don't remember seeing your name in his chat rooms. Have you been active or just occasional or never? Phil used to be an apprentice fisherman. Now I am a masturbator. Speaking, he says, no, I'm a newbie. But you've been following Carrie for many years. So I'm going to say that you're a newbie to chat, to the chat experience. Okay, here I got like Carrie's email, and I see the key. I'm doing a Control-C copy, switching back to Bernard's screen, and I will not show the key. For those of you who are nervous right now, I got it. I got this. Here's change product key. So I'm going to click in there. I'm going to click in here. I'm going to take that off screen, and then I'm going to do a Control-V paste. And as a matter of fact, Bernard, I'll do a Control-V paste into a notepad on your computer so that you actually have the key. All right, so here we're off screen for that. Control-V, there's the key. And with that still on screen, I'm going to go to Bernard's notepad. And paste the key there. And then we'll save that on his desktop. And he'll deal with it later. Call it key. Save, and then close that notepad so I don't accidentally expose it. If I leave it just minimized, it might get accidentally exposed. So now I'm clicking next. Now I could blur out the product key area and display it. Two problems with that. The product key is pretty large because of the screen resolution we have right now, so the blurs, it's still going to be readable. And the second thing, I already showed what this screen looks like. So it's just the key that's there. So now I'm clicking next. And now I can show this. We have activate Windows. By activating Windows, you get the best experience, yada, yada, yada. And then click activate. Now, for good practice, I'm going to take that off screen for a moment. Yeah, okay, showing us spinning circles. Whoops, spinning circles. While it's trying to activate, it's not going to show the code again. We can leave it. Let's see if it works. We've activated this copy of Windows. Close Amundo. And then we see Windows is activated with a digital license. I did not intend to do that. I genuinely just started stuttering, and then I played it out, to be honest. There we go. You're good to go. Carrie says, thanks for your help, Doug. Absolutely. Thank you, Carrie. That was so awesome. Bernard says, this computer was involved in a robbery, then 22 funerals, still have one probate finishing. I think that's still. R is next to T. I haven't had a working computer I could use in a decade. Life starting again today. LOL. Well, wow, that's quite a backstory. Involved in a robbery, then 22 funerals, still have one probate finishing. Wow. All right. Awesome. Can Bernard, can we take a little more look at your computer? Just like to bring up computer information, see what CPU, hard drive, memory, stuff like that. We're just curious and nosy. Do you mind? Carrie, no words can say how grateful I am, and you, Doug. He says, sure, have at it. All right. let's see, close that. If you got particular requests in chat, let me know. Give me an exclamation mark C and then follow it with what you'd like to see. System. And i5, M430, 8 gigabytes of RAM. Windows 10 Pro, we're new already. 22H2. We go MS Info. For system information, what else do we care about? Acer Aspire, so that gives you the make and model. Legacy BIOS mode. And M430. Yeah, I'm sure this is not Windows 11, right? Not Windows 11 capable. I don't know the M430. Let's try go to Device Manager. Mobile processor, Carrie says. Mobile Core i5 M430M was a mobile processor with 2 cores, launched January 2010. And oh yeah, it's a laptop, isn't it? First gen Core i5 is this really 15-year-old system. Bernard, another thing that we can help you with is if you're interested in getting a inexpensive Windows 11 computer, even a laptop. There are laptops available, Windows 11, brand new, around $300. If a low-end processor is adequate for you, and I suspect it is, since apparently this computer is adequate for you. Disk drives. Whoops, I hit the wrong button there. I think that's a Seagate ST9500. Let's hit this PC. C drive, there's a DVD drive, 464 gigabytes on this partition anyway. Let's take a look at disk management. Yeah, there's no other unused partitions. So 465 gigabyte, which would be a 512 gigabyte model. Let's see, I could have done in Device Manager, disk drives, right click, properties. I think it's on volumes, populate for partition style, MBR, which is what we would have expected for this since it is legacy. BIOS. All right. So is there anything? No, I disagree. He does not need to install SSD ASAP because you don't know his use purposes for this computer. He's not going to get Windows 11 on it. So if he's going to wind up getting a new computer, putting an SSD, no, I absolutely disagree. It is not a foregone conclusion that he's got to do an SSD right away. Of course, it would speed it up, but he may not care about that. You don't know his use needs. I think he said somewhere that it hasn't been in use for quite a long time. Actually, Seldom Ball, no. The tariffs that are currently in effect, I just bought 6 more of these B-Link computers. They're not coming from China. Somebody yesterday said where they're coming from. They were actually less. The price went down from the previous time when I just ordered them 2 days ago after the tariffs were in effect. No, Chris, no. Back off. You don't even know what he's using the computer for. Oh, I think Carrie might be giving us one of these. Oh, no, he's giving us this laptop. Information about this laptop, apparently. Price and aggressive, $649. Right? That is his laptop, isn't it? I told you I don't remember these things. I'll use Alt-Tab to get back to system information. There, Aspire 5740. Yeah, that's it. This review is from 2010. Okay, back in 2010, it was $649. Oh, screen jumped. Oh, this is a review published in 2010 showcasing the laptop Bernard is using. Next year, that computer can drive. It'll be 16 years old. The computer can get behind the wheel in your car. Well done, Gary. Oh, he is going to do a SSD with Acronis. With Acronis. Now that everything is running, I was going to do a copy with Acronis now that it's running. So an image backup with Acronis and restore it to an SSD. Beautiful. Wonderful. Yeah, I know it's the only thing that's going to speed it up, but you don't know his use, what he's going to be using it for. He's indicated now that, yeah, he does want to do that. But understand that you can't, it's not hardware that's approved for Windows 11. As a private individual, you might make the choice to put, to force Windows 11 on it, and I'll actually help you with that. But, this big but, you don't know what problems are going to come up down the road if you don't have the hardware that Microsoft says you need to have this hardware if you're doing Windows 11. If you force Windows 11 on it, you're not assured that future updates are not going to cause you trouble. It's a risky environment, but there's no expense to it. So you can, if you can't afford to buy a Windows 11 computer that's legitimate Windows 11, I'd rather you force Windows 11 on it rather than continue to interact on the internet with Windows 10. But you got to understand, you may come up to a point where it just won't do updates anymore, and that eventually could present other problems, which at that point in time, if that's a year or 2, 3 years down the road, perhaps you'll be ready to buy an inexpensive replacement, and that you're going to get more computer for the money at that point in time down the road. So yeah, you can talk yourself into it, but don't say that I said it's okay, because I don't like that, but I'll help you with it. Greg asking Carrie, why does SCD key for Microsoft Office 365 tell you to go to www.off.com and set up an account there? That is Office Bug Spray's website, Office 365 website, off.com. I wasn't aware that off.com was a URL that Microsoft is using. Off.com. Is it? No, that's not Microsoft. If you're buying Microsoft Office 365 from SCD Key, they tell you to go there and set up an account there. That is off. Oh, bug spray. He did mean bug spray. It is insect repellent. That wasn't a typo. Where did it jump? Well, SSD can always be used in another system if he has need for that. If he upgrades this to an SSD and then buys a new computer, there's no need to put the SSD that he needlessly purchased. But he's now told us that he wants it. SSD will make typing in Word twice as fast. I don't think so. I do not think so. Typing in Word happens between CPU and RAM and keyboard. If you don't have autosave turned on, then I don't think that's going to make any difference. I think he was just trying to make a joke. It says 3 times as fast. New warning about unsupported. It says I'm not going to use this for internet activity. It was to download and learn coding from Hobby Railroad and DCXX. All right, if you're not going to have any of your account passwords, any of your personal information, you're not going to be browsing the internet with it, then yeah, you could continue using it as is. I'm skipping over things. Chris is getting frustrated with me. Carrie to Greg. What is your concern? Just trying to talk yourself out of it? Keys are guaranteed. People telling scary stories online should not be treated with equal value to those you personally know. Yeah, I don't know what. Oh, here it is. Oh, he's interested in buying it, but their instructions are weird. Greg M., if you'll ask me about that during a weekday show, I wouldn't mind exploring that. What I'll do is I'll go to SEDKD. I'll go to that website and try buying 365 and we'll see what's going on there. I mean, you can't even follow the instructions if it's taking you to a bug spray website. But there's something about that that sounds familiar with me, and I think I know what the solution is. We're getting close to quitting time. Oh, Zavi, since I've got the exclamation mark C now, I've dropped looking for exclamation marks or question marks. Those are just too difficult to find. Does that mean that you put something in? No. There was a time when I was having people use 3 exclamation marks or question marks instead of putting me in orange because they found that difficult to do or reduce the number of characters that they could type. There's 4 question marks. No, yeah, I don't know what you're. Oh, maybe somebody put in exclamation marks. They should have put in question marks or vice versa. Greg says, my concern is that their instructions on the product page make no sense. Agreed. If, according to what you said, you are using an email account that you cannot change only the password for the email account. Are they using that to they want you to create an account on that bug spray site in order to send a code to you? No, I think there's something else going on there. This sounds vaguely familiar, and I think there's an explanation for it.
Red chat, please.
Can you show me a link? All right, so here did it. I gave it to us now. All right, let's go see. This sounds really familiar. Office 365 Pro Plus, scdk.com. That looks like the right site. So if I try to buy this, is that where I'm going to get the instructions for an account?
Read chat, please.
Scroll down, Doug. He is looking at a site from 2019 that has typos. That's not the site that I direct to, but I'll bring this to their attention. There's your answer. Boom. There's your answer right there. Let's go. Prove this, show this. Let's go. Actually, I want to do it this way. YouTube Tools, Windows Daily, Kerry Holzman. We'll go use the link on one of his recent videos. Expect it to be there on all of them. And then once we use his link to get to their site, then go look for Microsoft 365. All right, CDK. Oh, I went right past it, didn't I? He has Office 2016, but you're wanting 365, not Office 2016. So if we do go to the website that way, you see push notifications? No. Go here, MS 365. Sorry, no results. Here, 365 Pro Plus account. This isn't the same thing, is it? Where did I have that at? You wanted an MS 365, right? There's the 2019 identification in the URL. So no, Office 365 Pro Plus account. Okay, Office 365 Pro Plus account. Yeah, see, we don't have the CA at the beginning of that.
Red chat, please.
I don't know, did that get us to? I don't know where I get to have to go to see what you're saying. Oh, and he's saying he sees the same typo. I do see the same typo in the link. Thank you for bringing this to my attention. I will let them know so they can correct it. So yeah, in the val, I guess it's not an outdated site, but it is a typo that's in there.
Red chat, please.
I had a severe ID theft back in late 80s, wiped me out. I never trust any technology. Very short story. Yeah, well, we're at the end of the show now. So, Chris, you got to go back on that again. All I meant was to get an SSD until he has the money for a new computer. No, not needed. But Jim is right. Using that money to save for a new system would make more sense. Okay, you're caving now. You're caving now. All right, I understand now why you want me to see that. You're saying, okay, I give up. All right, I think I'm going to shut down now. Yeah, it says yes, that's what he meant. And so now I have a redirect set to go to Bearded Ink. I'd love it for you guys to go say hello once we jump in. This way he's going to see us come in. I like that a lot. Where do I have him buried in here? Good grief. Wait a minute. Has he not started? Oh, he is. Okay, here he is.
So
Okay.
YouTube is my backup. or
So
my
here he
secondary.
is. Here he is
And all you
talking.
have to do is click on Add New Target.
Okay. So I got to pause that. So this is going to be like a raid. He's used to Twitch and raids. I've done this before, a redirect to somebody's YouTube, and they didn't know about it. They said, what is this? All right. You can send an email to this address to ask a question that I'll respond to during a live stream in the chat room. We'll help with that. Or you can leave a comment on any video, or you can ask a question in the chat room. Here we go. See you there.